Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, from wherever you are joining us today for this PUPP webinar series. And today we have a presentation entitled Leveraging Academic Integrity Through Policy Development and Educational Materials. This is going to be a presentation related to facing academic integrity threats funded by the European Union Erasmus+. And I am happy to introduce the two presenters, Dr. Özgür Çelik and Dr. Oliver Trevisil, today here for their presentation. Dr. Özgür Çelik is an English as a foreign language instructor at Balikesir University in Turkey with over 15 years of teaching experience. His research interests include academic writing, academic integrity, and the integration of AI into educational assessment. He has been involved in various research projects, including the FATE and including the development of academic integrity policies in it, and the use of AI tools to enhance learning and teaching of writing skills. Dr. Oliver Trevisil is a subject librarian for history, theology, and education at the Communication Information Media Center of University of Constance in Germany. He is also responsible for activities related to the prevention of plagiarism and digitization. He also enjoys working with AI tools in his history classes. Oliver studied history, philosophy, and political science at the University of Constance and York University in Toronto. He received his PhD in modern history from the University of Constance in 2004. Now the stage is yours. Good luck with the presentation.
Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Razi, and thank you for the invitation, Natalie. Hello, everyone. Today, together with Oliver, we will present a part of the FATE project, and you can see the title of our presentation. Before beginning, I want to give a brief information about our project. The FATE is an acronym. It stands for Facing Academic Integrity Threats. It's an Erasmus Plus Cooperation Partnerships in Higher Education project. We started this project in 2022, and we hope to finish it in 2025 in February. You can see the web page link of our project here. So there are 5 partners in this project, including Çanakkale 18 Mart University from Turkey, European Network for Academic Integrity, University of Constance, University of Maribor, and University of Porto. There are 5 partners. So we are coming to the end. We want to share what we have done so far in terms of policy development. Our project has 3 project results. The first project result focuses on establishing a benchmark for minimum standards for academic integrity policies. By the way, we use acronym AI in this presentation for academic integrity, not for artificial intelligence. And in the second project results, we design evidence-based guidelines and training materials on how to prevent, detect, and deter academic misconduct. And in the last project result, we founded a support portal for victims of academic misconduct. This portal is an interactive portal, and there's a support network here. I think Dita has already presented about this project results in the PUPP webinars. You might have seen that one. Okay, before talking about what we have done, we can talk about what we mean about a policy and what part of the policy term we focus on. Generally, the policies have 2 elements, visible and invisible elements. So in the visible part, there are laws, documents, guidelines, regulations, directive announcements for people. These elements reflect the visible part of a policy. And in the visible part, there are cultures, traditions, customs, norms, behaviors, perceptions, intentions, and beliefs. So these are the invisible parts of a policy, and through these elements, we try to make these invisible parts visible. So in our project, we mainly focus on the visible parts, of course, informed by the invisible parts. And now I want to talk a bit more about the academic integrity policies, especially at the document level. So these policies are not off-the-shelf documents, which means that you cannot just take one policy from an institution and start implementing at your own institution. They are not one-size-fits-all products. They are culture specific, context specific, discipline specific. They should originate from the school culture. And they act as a blueprint to establish a culture of academic integrity at the school. So the policy documents, academic integrity policy documents are really essential in leveraging, in upholding academic integrity at institutions. So there comes a question to our mind at this point, at which level we should start implementing a policy, at the very beginning of creating a culture process, or at sometimes as somewhere at the middle or through the end. So we can answer this question by referring to the four-stage model of ICAI. ICAI suggests a four-stage model about the institutional cultures. There are four models here. The primitive one, in which the schools have no policy or procedures, and the second one is the radar screen. So at this stage, the school describes some cheating issues here, and the cheating issues have risen a public debate, but there are weaknesses in the academic integrity policies, of course. And in the mature stage, the school has an academic integrity policy and procedures. They are widely known and through the school, but not universally supported or embraced. And the last one, the honor code one, and at this stage, the institution, there's an academic integrity policy in action. It is widely supported, widely accepted, universally supported, and also all the stakeholders, including the students, take action to uphold academic integrity, and they take responsibility to implement the policy. So I think this is a good framework. This is a good model to show the the level of culture of academic integrity of the institutions. Okay, when we look at the literature, there are some problems with academic integrity policies, and we can mention some of these problems. The policies are punitive, not educative, and they are not comprehensive and inclusive enough. And most of the policies frame academic integrity as a student issue. Most policies approach academic integrity in a way that it's the only responsibility of the students, only of the students. There are rules, there are certain rules imposed on the student, and students have to obey those rules. And so most of them are not aligned with teaching and learning. These are the main problems with academic integrity policies. Of course, when we look at the literature, there are some seminal studies. First of all, Tracy's core elements of exemplary academic integrity policy study. This is really a seminal study in policy research. They identified five elements of an exemplar academic integrity policy. And when we examine the policy research, most of the academic integrity policy analysis research use Tracy's five elements framework to analyze the policies. And also another excellent work is Irene Glendinning and her colleagues. This is a long-lasting project. There are three different projects here. So at this, Tracy's work mostly focus on the visible parts because they collected university policies of Australian university policies and they analyzed the documents. So they focused on the visible parts of an academic integrity policy, but Irene's projects focus on also the invisible parts because Irene and her team went to the cities, went to each institution in their sample. They interviewed with the students, administrators. They examined this situation there, and they focused on the perceptions, beliefs, the invisible ones. And they concluded that there are significant variations in the implementation and understanding of academic integrity policies across Europe. So there is a big gap between the policy and the implementation. And we can see this gap in this figure. So the academic integrity policies are mostly well-crafted documents, but when we start to implement it, we see some problems. We can reflect all the issues raised in the documents into action, into implementation, and the result and the outcome is mainly not as we intended in the policy document. So this illustration, I think, reflects the policy implementation, policy development, implementation, and outcome. This is the current situation in our policy implementation process. So now we can define what we mean by developing effective academic integrity studies. I think we need to first define what it is. I will refer to our study with Professor Dr. Razi, which was published in International Journal of Educational Integrity. So we made this definition in this publication. It's a struggled over process which requires significant time, patience, and attention, with a shared understanding and responsibility from all stakeholders at the institution. So it is just one sentence, but it takes a lot to realize, to make it real. Okay, so we talked about what developing effective policies is. Now I will talk about our project, especially the project result one, which is about the policy development, effective policy development. So there are three sub project results here: building a policy corpus, creating an evidence-based guideline, and a webinar for policymakers. Now I will go into all of these one by one. We will start with the policy corpus. So our purpose was to develop a comprehensive academic integrity policy corpus at this point, and this corpus includes academic integrity policies from higher education institutions across Europe and also beyond Europe. So we want to support the policy research with this corpus by providing a resource for policy researchers so that they can find, filter, download, and collect academic integrity policies from one data source. And then they can analyze, compare, or use these studies in their research. So you see the timeline, the steps of our corpus building process. We started with planning how we are going to build the corpus, and then we collected data in three ways. And after collecting the policies, we did some formatting, refined them, named them, and converted the document type in certain document types, and we built a interface, web interface for the corpus and disseminated it. So we collected more than 300 policy documents from 27 countries in 15 different languages. We created a Google form for this, and our team members searched the university websites and collected policies and uploaded them to our repository. And then we created a web interface. You can see our web interface here. So on this panel, there are filters. The users can use certain keywords to search for the policies. The users can search based on the institution name, document type, document format, country, language, etc. There are some filters. When they filter the policies according to their choices, so here they can see a list of the policies, and also they can download the policies here. And of course, we faced some challenges during the corpus building. We faced defining and identifying the policy documents. There are different documents, and we sometimes had difficulty in what is an academic integrity policy. And another challenge was that the policy documents are scattered across different places in the university or institution websites. So we had problems with finding them from multiple places. And of course, there were some copyright issues, which was another challenge, and we experienced some technical issues. So we hired a webmaster for this to overcome these technical issues. And here are some our key takeaways, but we have lots of takeaways. I'm not going into detail of all of these takeaways, but in short, we can say that our corpus provide a rich resource for policymakers so that they can see all the policies from different institutions, different cultures, different areas, and in different languages. So it's a rich resource, rich repository for policy researchers. Okay, in the next in the next project results, sub-project results, we aim to create an evidence-based guideline on how to develop the effective policies. So we are right at this point now. We are working on it. Our purpose was to develop an evidence-based academic integrity policy guidelines, and we purposefully focused on the detective, reactive, and deterrent aspects of academic integrity policies. So to do that, we conducted a detailed literature review to identify the key components, and we created a policy analysis tool to evaluate existing academic integrity policies and support our guideline with the extracts from actual integrity policies. And in the end, we aim to create a comprehensive guidelines on how to develop academic integrity policies or update the current policies. So why we call our guidelines as evidence-based? Because it is informed by the scientific literature, and also it is informed by the analysis of actual academic integrity policies that in the higher education institutions use now. That's why we call it evidence-based. Okay, so this is the flow that we followed, and we started with a literature review, and we, based on the data coming from the literature review, we created a policy analysis tool, which I will show you now. And we analyzed the policies, and then we created evidence-based guidelines. So this is the annotation how our annotation document looks like. So one line corresponds to one study, and for each study, we annotated the author's title, year, journal, purpose, methodology, and main findings. As far as I can remember, there are around 35 studies in this annotation document. After annotating the documents, we analyzed all of these studies one by one by going into details using the MaxQDA thematic analysis software. And you can see the list of our studies here. And here there are our codes we generated during the thematic analysis. And so these are our codes. And we combined the codes into the themes. And we have 4 main themes here, which are policy structure and accessibility, policy promotion, education, and integration, policy enforcement and procedures, and tools and support. These are the main themes, and there are, of course, sub-themes under each main theme, which are the codes in our study. And we identified each code one by one here. And then we translated each code into an item. You can see here. For example, you see under the policy structure and accessibility, we have record keeping code. So we translated this code into an item like the policy presents a detailed record keeping procedure. And we created a checklist, analysis checklist, and we got some expert feedback for this checklist, and then using the final version, we analyzed the actual policies in our corpus. And before analysis, we created an online form for this checklist. And before starting the analysis, we trained our analysis team by using some training videos, including the development of the process of the tool so that they can familiarize with the analysis tool. Also, there was a sample policy analysis video there. And so with this research team, we analyzed 161 policy documents from 16 countries and in 19 countries and from 6 languages. So we can say that this analysis tool was a byproduct of our PR1B. We are still developing it. It's still in the developmental stage. We haven't finalized it yet, so we are still getting feedback about it, and we want to make it better before we can share it with policy researchers. And you can see some key takeaways from this part. So at the end of this part, we aim to come up with an evidence-based policy guidelines informed from the literature and the policy analysis we conducted. In our guidelines, there will be some suggestions for policymakers on how to develop academic integrity policies. Also, there are some exemplary extracts from real academic integrity policies that are used currently. Okay, and after completing these parts, we will create a webinar series for policymakers, and our webinar series will include the development process of the policy analysis tool and introduction of this tool. And also we will show a sample policy analysis. The policy researchers can use our tool to analyze the policies in their settings. So therefore, we will create a webinar to introduce the tool we developed to the policy researchers. Also, of course, we will introduce the evidence-based guidelines with the policy researchers at the end. Okay, that's all from my part. Now I will leave the stage to Oliver. Oliver will talk about the educational materials that we have developed in the second project results. Oliver, over to you.
Yes, so hello everybody. Can you could just continue to the next slide so you can see? Yeah, so I want to show you a little bit about the INAI database of educational materials and the part we have done from the FAITH project. First of all, I will share the link to the database in the chat with you. Just a second. And then I will just share my screen so I can show you live. Okay, so that I hope everyone can see. So this is the INAI database of educational materials. And the very beginning, the most important message here is everything is completely free to use. So you don't have to register. There's no paywall, so everything is free. And we collected here a number of short modules and short pieces you can use in teaching or in the support of teachers. Everything is ready to use. Almost everything is under a CC BY license. That means you can change it, you can adapt it to your situation and your institution or your needs in your class. Within the materials we collected and uploaded from the FAITH project, we added some descriptions. So not every piece has it, but some have, and I will show you an example. Also, if you like to change anything or adapt anything, please feel free to ask for the non-PDF version. So in case we have the materials by our own, we are happy to share, of course. Within the FAITH project, we focused a little bit on the topic of outsourcing of student assignments, such as contract cheating and obviously Gen AI. So that is some background information about the content of that database. Sure, you all know to use databases, but I just want to show you some things I will consider most important of that database. First of all, some filters. The most interesting, I think, are the keywords, so we can focus on the topics. And for the example, I will choose Gen AI this time. The second one is the type of the material. So if you want to research for an exercise or an FAQ or a checklist, you can do it here with the content type. So that I will open that as well. So there are also examples, videos, descriptions, and so on. Within the as well the INAI project as well as FAITH project, we tried to translate materials. So you will find the materials in more than one language and the materials from many different languages. So I will filter for English now, but you can see there's a lot because we think students prefer to have that in their mother tongue. And the last one, you can filter for target groups. Most times, probably you will filter for materials which address teachers, university teachers, for example, or exercises for students themselves. So that is the basic function of that database. I will use the filters right now and apply them. And so we have some results here. We uploaded from the FAVE project. So you can see the title, a short descriptions, and I will choose one, and you can see it here. We have it 2 times because one is the description and one is the material itself. So I go for details here. So we have the materials, metadata, are very short text, the link, and the document itself. If we have it as a PDF version, that means it's under the CC BY license. If it's not open access, we just added the link, and you can see some related materials to them. Here you can see this description, and I want to show you that piece now. So it's the same structure here. We have the PDF, a short description, and maybe because we are a small group right now, so you can probably download it and have a quick look at the material. It's a 1-page material, and the aim is to describe the educational material which is behind. And the reason is to save time. So we try to make it very short, a short overview, and maybe you can open it now and go to the second page. And I would be interested for some short or spontaneous feedback. Do you consider it helpful for your job? Right now, I don't know. Are you teaching yourself, or are you more supporting teachers or supporting staff? I will go to the chat that I can see your answers, but you can use the mic if you like. So can you still hear me?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I am a teacher myself.
Okay.
And yeah, specifically, I have some academic integrity webinars with postgraduate students at my university. So that's why I'm very much interested in what you are doing here. And I think this is kind of new. Some of the information here, it could be new knowledge to what I'm doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Right now we started to make that description, so we don't have it for all. So obviously I'm interested in, like, are they helpful for you? Do you consider it helpful? Do you consider it short enough, or do you prefer more something else? So it's an open question. I just tried to show you what we have. So after having a look at the chat, I think everyone is involved in teaching, right? Okay, so I will, if there's no answer right now, I will change and stop sharing the screen right now, and we return to the presentation. Probably it will take for a while. Yeah, so that was it's the link here again for you. And when we can go for the next slide, this will show the example, what we have seen right now. And one more So behind that, there will be a short video which will I show right now. And within the FAITH project, especially this is it comes from the Çanakkale team. They integrated some of the materials to a whole online module, and this short video, it's less than 2 minutes, so we can watch it now. We'll introduce the first module of that material. This will come soon, so it's not publicly available right now, but it will be very soon. So please start. Okay, thank you. Maybe Özgür, you can skip to the next and last slide. Yeah, so that is the advertising slide. We are still collecting materials, so if you're interested to share something, you can send it to us, you can send it to me. We are still adding to that database, and I hope it was an interesting information for you, and I hope it is somehow helpful for you, especially the content of the database. Okay, thank you. And we have some time for discussions, I think, if you like, for both parts of the.
Okay, thank you, Özgür, and thank you, Oliver, for the presentation. Let's check whether we have any questions from the audience. Otherwise, maybe I can make a reference to both presentations, to both presenters. Relating to policy analysis, Natalie, if I am not mistaken, tomorrow there will be another session, another training session for qualitative analysis for the PUPP.
For the PUPP, yes.
Yes. So maybe this becomes a reminder for those who would like to attend it. Indeed, in the FAITH project, we use another software to run the analysis. I guess in PUPP we will be using NVivo, but we use MaxQD. But anyway, the logic behind any of the software is quite similar. We want to create codes from the qualitative data that we have, and we find it quite relevant, the codes, and hope the researchers in the future will find them useful, especially when it comes to policy research and also more importantly, hope they will have some potential to have an impact over policymakers, because we hope that policymakers will take the research into consideration when they are designing and revising their institutional policies. We are getting support from postgraduate students, especially from Çanakkale. Many PhD students and master students are contributing to both policy analysis and materials development under project result 2. Oliver already provided an example. We will have a few more examples because some more PhD students are relating their PhD dissertations with pedagogical materials aspect of the FATE project, and we will be promoting these materials under the FATE project. We will be using NIE channels to disseminate the project results because after the project's lifetime, NIE will guarantee that these materials will be accessible. So NIE materials section is providing some visibility to the other materials coming from the other projects as well. Okay, these were my insights relating to both Özgür's and Oliver's presentation. Natalie, do we have any questions?
I don't see anything in the chat, so.
Okay, so can we conclude the session?
Just a second. Paula sent, I'm a doctoral student. My research focuses on the sense-making of academic integrity in online higher education institution. Your website could be helpful for my study. I would like to know if there is any space for exploring the connection between university policies and quality assurance standards.
Okay, Özgür, would you like to respond to this question, or shall I try to respond to it in my capacity?
Sure, hocam. So in our current database, we collected only the policies, academic integrity policies. As far as I can remember, we don't have any documents on quality and assurance.
Okay,
But
we
this is
didn't.
an interesting point.
Yeah, we didn't collect any data from quality assurance agencies. However, we are collaborating with these agencies, especially in Europe. And we have an associate partner from Slovenia, Slovenian quality assurance, higher education quality assurance agencies are associate partners, helping us to disseminate our project result within Slovenia, but we are also collaborating with some other agencies, umbrella agencies operating especially in Europe to make them available about our findings.
I hope this answers Paula. She says, thank you for your answer.
It seems there are no additional questions or feedback from the participants. So once again, thank you, Dr. Özgür Çelik, and thank you, Dr. Oliver Trevisil, for this wonderful presentation. And I'd like to thank to PUPP, Natalie and Martin for giving us this opportunity to address people who are interested in our research. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie, for the invitation.